All right. It is that time again. Ready to dive in, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So, at the time of this recording of the pod, um, for those of you who've been regular followers of the channel, you know that of course it has been a difficult week, um, but I can also tell you that knowing that we are meant to connect like this on the pod, knowing that we're meant to hold the space, me for you and you for me, um, more than ever before. Definitely this is one of those moments, this is one of those times when it has become abundantly clear that community really does make a difference, and especially if you are a digital coach, um, trying to hold your flag or keep your flag held fly. Let me say that again. Trying to keep your flag held strong, and keeping the flag up can be pretty daunting, can be pretty tiring. But on the other hand, when you have a community and there are people that are rooting for you, and you know that there are these people in your corner, it really makes the difference. Right now, these people can be your family, these people can be your loved ones, these people can also be your family that are loved ones, and of course people who are part of your community. And this is something that I have experienced firsthand through this week. And even as I'm now recording this pod here today, it's just a moment for me to reflect on life. And more importantly, even as I was preparing for today's topic, allowing the topic to come to me, what kind of popped up in my head from my heart was this basic context of, is it intuition or is it intellect, right? Is it the head or is it the heart? And especially over the last couple of days, and even more importantly, over the last couple of months, I've been noticing that, when we operate only from the head, and especially as digital coaches, let me give you a quick little reflection back to maybe over the last several years. I tended to operate more from my head, even though, of course, I was my intention was to hold space for people, was to let the healing happen. But the way I was approaching it was mainly from my head, from my intellect. So even as I look back at the last several years, my focus has always been on learning, right? Learning the ways, learning, and in my case specifically, hypnosis and self-hypnosis, and of course, neuro-linguistic programming. And this is something that over the years I've been studying a lot. And as I look back, it was mainly intellect driven, meaning that let me learn, tools and technology so that I can make a difference in the lives of my clients. And that was basically what was the driver. As I reflect back, especially over the last maybe 6 months to maybe about a year now, what I've come to recognize is that, even beyond intellect, even beyond um, the mind, it's really our other mind, as we say. Um, it's really our intuition that I've started to see show itself in its many colors. What do I mean by that? Um, any great idea that you've experienced, that you've had, that you've created as a digital coach, there are a lot of times when these ideas have just come to you, right? And these are ideas that have probably given you the maximum, as we call it, the bang for your buck, right? On the other hand, there are a lot of ideas that you have slaved over, that you have really worked hard to create. And you'll notice that when you've tried is the keyword here, when you've tried really hard to make these ideas come to life, there is a lot of heartache, there's a lot of um, failures, and then of course ultimately successes that you probably would have experienced to an extent. So today, even as I'm reflecting back like this, I can definitely tell you that intellect or your mind, it definitely has a place, definitely has a role to play in this entire process. But more importantly, um, when you're able to connect, and this is something that I've been doing a lot more, and I've been teaching my students and my clients as well, right? Of course, using the frame of self hypnosis. But the main thing here is I've been, you know, helping them slow down, pause, and really reflect on what's going on inside, right? So, if you're familiar with the concept of body wisdom, basically it's like our bodies are constantly giving us signals. So whether it is any kind of physical pain, could be a headache, could be something more, could be stress reactions. It's like typically um, any kind of itching, any kind of, you know, um, any kind of physical discomfort that you feel. If you start to look deeper, you'll notice that a lot of it is, what's known as psychosomatic, which means your body is responding to a lot of the imbalance that's happening inside of you. And so it's important in the work that we do, because when you are able to really start to reflect inward and ask yourself these questions, okay, why am I feeling this? What is the meaning of this um, body reaction? You're actually starting to tap into something that goes beyond your intellect, right? And if you're, anybody like me, you'll notice that we typically have, or in the past have had a fascination and a inclination to more of what is maybe to an extent bookish, but really it's like being more about driven by learning, right? I want to learn how this works. I want to learn how this system works. I want to learn how this process works. And so, having traveled that journey now for, literally the last 21 years, right? I can also um, verify that beyond our intellect, there is something that's even more powerful, and that is our intuition. So, if you're willing to start to lean into and connect with your intuition, you'll find that a lot of what you've been building in the context of your intellect, it will start to flow a lot more easily, and it'll start to flow easier. Um, so, what that means is that you don't actually have to try, you just allow. And the more you're willing to allow, you will notice that your ability to manifest, your ability to create, your ability to have experiences that are at one level magical, at another level magnetic, at another level surprising, you'll start to experience that, which means you'll start to have more clients, have more students, have more experiences, have more successes, not only for you in the context of having more of this, but literally like your clients, your students will start to experience more success in their life. And think about it, as digital coaches, our intention is not just to amass clients and money. I mean, all those have a place, you know, in the overall scheme of things. But more than that, our intention is to be able to help them, which is our clients, our students. Our intention is to be able to help them have a more abundant life. That means their family lives change, their personal realities shift. So as I was, now I'm starting to get ready to land this plane, as the expression goes. Just a reminder that, if you are somebody that's been extremely intellect driven, right? Now is that time that, maybe if you start asking the question, okay, let me tap into my body wisdom. Let me tap into my intuition, right? Let me tap into the genius in me, right? Because you know this, we all have that genius in us. We've already had several times in the past where we've experienced it. But what if you could have more of that on an ongoing basis, right? So maybe you could see that, or treat that as a challenge, or you could um, acknowledge and welcome it. Because when you're able to do that, you will start to notice that um, your reality shifts, right? The 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 quality of your communication, the quality of your conversations will completely start to um, almost like transmute into something uh, that logically you couldn't have come up with, right? So of course, do check the notes. There are some interesting ways of simply phrasing what I've shared with you in bullet points, if that's something that you want to kind of reflect on. Otherwise, definitely, um, thank you for getting to this point um, of the pod. And as always, I'm open to your suggestions on topics, and of course, especially as a digital coach, if you are right now struggling with something, in fact, maybe, if you're anybody like me, you've already invested in tools and technology and in mentors to be able to facilitate this change in your life, this shift in your life. But somehow, when it comes to being able to build that business, being able to translate what is your, let's say, your subject matter, like something that you really want to build a business around. And in this case, I'm talking about the 5 streams. What are these 5 streams? Health, wealth, relationships, spirituality, and purpose. So maybe what you're teaching is in the context of one, or maybe a combination of these streams, right? We call them the 5 streams. So maybe this is something that you are right now trying to put together as a business. And somehow, when it comes to, whether it is webinars, whether it is creating content, whether it is being able to, as we use the expression, convert clients, right? Close the client. Sometimes these are expressions that we use. And somehow you find that in that in that moment you kind of decel it, you kind of step back, right? So maybe if that's you at this point, uh, please, do treat this as my invitation to ask questions, and more importantly, to, if you have this question in your mind, which is mera number kab aayega, right? Which means that you have seen your peers, people around you, maybe join, communities that you're a part of, digital communities. Today you have digital marketing communities. There are a lot of these communities today that you can be part of, and somehow you find that they have gone ahead of they've gone ahead of you, quote unquote, and you're wondering, and you have this question in your mind, which is mera number kab aayega. So meaning, when will I have that success? So if that is you, I can definitely tell you that a lot of this has to do with the your own negative self beliefs. And rather than trying to fix your negative self beliefs, what if you just focus on creating new, powerful, positive beliefs? And if this is something that, that either that it makes you curious, or it's something that you're like, yeah, it's high time, I really want to make a change in my life, then this is, please treat this as my invitation to you, because Mera Number Ka Aayega is the workshop that I run on Saturday. And it's a 1 hour workshop between 11 and 12, as a way to sort of reorient you to why is it that why did I even come up with this concept of Mera Number Ka Aayega? And of course, the intention is to go from Mera Number Ka Aayega to Life Chingalala. And obviously, being in India, you know what this means as a reference. And more importantly, for me, I've been very fortunate to have been in this space of personal development for now at the time of recording this for 21 years. And a good part of that has been in the area of hypnosis. So there's a reason why I mention in my intro that I say I'm India's premier self hypnosis. Um, it's like, what do I say? It's like my name is in Rahul George, India's premier self hypnosis coach and your personal guide. So the reason why I say that is because my intention and my intent is to be able to teach you self hypnosis so that you can make new, powerful, positive beliefs and be able to experience the things that you want, right? Which is the state of life jingalala. So if this is something that interests you, if this is something that makes you curious and you want to know more, then the steps are pretty simple. One is, of course, you can come to my Facebook group. It's called Self Hypnosis Mastermind, and once you're there, you can just you know once you join, you'll be able to get access to this link to the workshop that happens on Saturday between 11 and 12. It's for 60 minutes, and it's less than 1,300 rupees. And of course, at the end of that 60 minutes, if this is something that interests you and you want to really go deeper into learning self hypnosis, then you automatically get access, having attended, you automatically get access to a 30-day trial membership. And in that period, we will meet for at least 4 sessions, which happens between 12 and 1. So 11 to 12 is this introduction, this workshop. And then, of course, the trial membership is what rolls out between 12 and 1. Uh, Incidentally, I think I may or may not have already mentioned it, but we are now moving from a Saturday to a Sunday. So if you've gotten to this point, now from this point on, it's not going to be on Saturdays, it's going to be on Sundays. Of course, you will see posters, you will see a post on this as well. So when in doubt, of course, if you're getting confused at this point, just send me a message. Okay. Um, and yes, if this kind of content is something that you want to hear more about, maybe you're consuming this on my YouTube channel, my YouTube podcast channel, or maybe you're listening to this live or on my Facebook page or my profile. If you have any questions, definitely drop me a message. And as always, remember, like I said, you know, um, give, if you aren't already, maybe this is the time for you to start thinking. When I say thinking, it's like to allow your intuition to drive you, because maybe that's what brought you here, to watch this, to listen to this pod. So with that, I'm going to wrap for today, but of course I will be back for more. um, Wishing you all the very best on your journey as a digital coach. And as always, remember to live with purpose. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.